Because the Bible is God's word and his character is both perfect and all-knowing. Watch this. I'm going to do a 1 + 1 = 2 right here. Watch this. Because the Bible is God's word and his character is both perfect and all-knowing, the Bible is both inerrant, meaning it contains no errors, and infallible, meaning because it's God's word, it's incapable of even having errors in it. This is important because if God is capable of lying, then humans wouldn't know when he was telling the truth, and people would be unable to trust or follow him. What if God was a liar? What if God said, I love you, and then you die? And he goes, I was just kidding. I really don't. I was just joking about that, so now I'm going to throw everybody in hell. What do you think about that? You just go, wait, what are you doing? You said you loved us. I had a bad day. You had a bad day? Yeah, I had a bad day, and so I just felt like, I would say some stuff to make people feel better, but I didn't really mean it. What if God was like you and me? We roll out of bed and today I'm just going to be mad. Why are you going to be mad, God? I don't know, I just woke up mad. What if God was as weird and roller coaster emotionally as us? I mean, wow, think about that. God, you know what? I'm just going to send some lightning on people today. Start zapping people all over the world. What's God doing? I don't know. I think he's mad. The Bible describes God as a totally consistent, loving, non-lying God that you can trust with your life because he doesn't lie. God is not like the gods of the Greeks, which are basically like overblown soap opera stars. God is totally consistent and never lies. And because of that, we believe God's word never lies. You understand? So from a perfect God comes his perfect revelation. So if God cannot tell a lie and is perfect in wisdom and knowledge, then his word is also accurate and without lies or imperfections in the original manuscripts. So even though there may be handwritten copying errors, anybody catch that? All you English majors are like, there's a missing R in errors. Yes, I put that on there on purpose. Why did I do that? Because it's possible to copy God's word, if I was to write it down by hand, and drop a zero, drop a piece of whatever, but you were able to match it with other copies of God's word, and you go, oh, Pastor Jim dropped a zero right here. It's supposed to be 40,000, not 400 or something like that. You're able to match it with other copies. You're able to get an accurate representation of what God meant back in the day. So even if I'm in error when I copy God's word, we are able through other copies to know what got dropped. Do you understand? Everybody understand? Nobody understands. Everybody fell asleep already? Okay, good. Here we go. So I want you to understand that. So even if there can be a copying error, but that doesn't affect any doctrine, it doesn't affect any revelation because we're able to understand what got dropped. Because God doesn't just keep every copying error from happening. But his original manuscripts, the original revelation was perfect. And every copying error is known because of the amazing amount of manuscripts that are copied besides the one that's wrong. Okay, so you're able to find out what is wrong. And you're able to know exactly what God wanted when he first gave us a revelation. No one understands? A couple people do? No one cares? Okay, here we go. We're moving on. Moving on. I wrote this down because this is really important. And if you're having a tough time grasping it, I put the verses on here that you can look up. So even though there may be handwritten copying errors, none of which affect any doctrine, when comparing the thousands of copies, we can ascertain the probable original reading. We reject any later revelation as the revelation of Jesus is final and is all we need for life and godliness. And we see that in 2 Peter 1:3 and Jude 1:3. You have all you need in the Bible. Listen very carefully to what I'm saying. I've said this before. If you go to a church that does not teach the Bible, you need to leave that church. It is that important. If they're just talking about how to be a better person or how to do this or what or the other thing, if they're not actually teaching you the Bible, you need to move on. And why do I say that? Because the teaching of God's word is so important. This is how you and I will be judged, is on God's word. It's that important, okay? I know other churches might have a little more better coffee or whatever, but that's not the reason you go to church, okay? Although it is important. I'm not going to lie. If coffee is rough, you may have to seek the Lord. Can we find a different church that teaches God's word and has better coffee? There may be things that you need to do, but one thing I'm saying is if you walk in the door and God's word is not prominent, you need to find a place that makes it prominent, okay? Because it's that important. We believe it's God's word.